They removed it so that he could be in the next debate. He doesn't have to show he has any support amongst the American people. He can just buy his way onto the debate stage.
The Democratic National Committee, namely DNC Chair Tom Perez, decided to change the debate requirements, removing the requirement for individual donors. So you no longer need to meet a certain threshold of individual donors to get on the debate stage. All you need are good poll numbers. Opening it up for maybe a self-funded candidate, maybe a billionaire, to join the debate stage on Friday. This change was obviously made for billionaire Michael Bloomberg, a guy who endorsed George Bush in 2004 and is now running for the Democratic nomination. Now, why did the DNC do this when, they didn't change the rules for Cory Booker, for Julian Castro, for Tulsi Gabbard, for Andrew Yang, didn't change the rules for anybody else when it came to this requirement, but changed it for Michael Bloomberg? Well, the answer is obvious. Michael Bloomberg is a billionaire, and Michael Bloomberg, as a billionaire, has given a lot of money to the DNC. Now, not a lot of money, from his perspective as somebody who is worth billions and billions of dollars, but a lot of money from the perspective of money the average person doesn't have, that Michael Bloomberg has, and is able to now buy himself into this race. So let me show you the Vice News piece on this. Mike Bloomberg gave the DNC $300,000 2 days before he entered the 2020 race. And now the DNC is changing its rules in a way very favorable to Mike Bloomberg. Bloomberg made 3 separate donations of $106,500 to the Democratic National Committee on November 19, 2019, according to FEC records. Individuals are allowed to donate up to $106,500 to each national party account in the 2019-2020 election cycle, according to FEC contribution limit guidelines. In addition to the donations made directly to the DNC, Bloomberg also made an $800,000 donation that same day to the Democratic Grassroots Victory Fund, a joint fundraising PAC between the DNC and state Democratic parties around the country, which was established in 2017. Bloomberg also donated hundreds of thousands to state parties around the country in November, according to FEC records. So it's pretty obvious that Michael Bloomberg, because of these actions, allowed the DNC to change the rules for him to be able to join the debate stage and be treated like a serious candidate, when all he's done is buy his way into this race as he sees the popularity of Bernie Sanders rising. So before I say anything else on this, I want to show you Michael Moore's reaction to this. So this news came out on Friday, and this was during an Iowa event where Michael Moore was on stage and reacted to the news that Bloomberg has bought his way into the debates.
They removed it so that he could be in the next debate. He doesn't have to show he has any support amongst the American people. He can just buy his way onto the debate stage. And I got to tell you what's so disgusting about this. I watched the debate in Iowa here 2 weeks ago. The all-white debate. And the fact that the DNC will not allow Cory Booker on that stage, will not allow Julian Castro on that stage, but they're going to allow Mike Bloomberg on the stage because he's got $1 billion fucking dollars. I'm sorry. Those days are over. Those days are over. There are TV cameras here.
All right, so I gotta say this was incredibly cathartic. When I saw this on Friday, this clip, I watched it over and over and over again because you don't often see a campaign surrogate like this just tell it like it is. Everybody knows Michael Bloomberg bought his way onto the stage, and to see, you know, a Sanders surrogate in Michael Moore here get pissed off about it, as any other voter should be pissed off about this. Not even just if you're a Bernie supporter, but if you're a supporter of any of the other candidates, especially the candidates that got knocked out and were not able to join the debate stage because they didn't meet the DNC requirements. To now see the DNC change the rules for Michael Bloomberg, a billionaire, it's got to piss you off. So to see Michael Moore represent that anger on stage was just incredible. Now, there is a good and bad side to Michael Bloomberg being on the debate stage. So, you know, the bad side is kind of obvious. It essentially legitimizes Michael Bloomberg as a candidate. So by him actually being on the stage in this discussion, it makes him seem like a more serious candidate maybe he would have seen before. But on the other hand, the good part of him being on stage is that he's going to have to actually defend his record, assuming he is challenged on that record. So when it comes to the moderators at these debates, I don't have much hope, but you have to assume that Bernie Sanders and maybe even Elizabeth Warren, maybe even the other candidates on stage, will bring up the fact that Michael Bloomberg bought his way on stage, and not even just bring that up, but also Michael Bloomberg's horrible record, which has barely been touched at this point. So Michael Bloomberg has donated to Republicans as recently as 2018. He has a poor record as mayor, be it, you know, stop and frisk that targeted Latinos and black people disproportionately, a massive increase in the cost of living while he was mayor, massive increase in homelessness while he was mayor, and he also blocked a minimum wage increase. And this is just touching the surface. So I'm going to have links below to these 3 articles that I'm going to share the headlines of in a second. But do your own research, because Michael Bloomberg absolutely has not been vetted. So if you or anybody you know has been fooled by Michael Bloomberg's television ads, it's time you begin to inform these people about who Mike Bloomberg actually is. So just here are some headlines that I found. Again, these will link below the video in the description box under sources. But this from Talking Points Memo. Let's face it, Bloomberg's legacy is terrible. This from The Cut. Michael Bloomberg is just as bad for women as Joe Biden. This from The Atlantic. Here's what should disqualify Michael Bloomberg. New York's stop and frisk policy is just one example of the former mayor's lack of respect for civil liberties. So again, all these links are below the video in the description box under sources, but do your own research, look into him. Again, he endorsed George W. Bush in 2004. He spoke at the Republican National Convention in 2004. You can go watch that speech. And this guy now wants to be the Democratic nominee. So there are people in your lives, more than likely, that are being tricked into supporting Michael Bloomberg because he is blanketing the airwaves with his advertisements. So it is important to talk to those people in your lives and inform them on who Michael Bloomberg actually is.